Oh, there you are. Yep, we are ready to start game two of our 1973. Here's the pitch replay. 1973, game two. It pits two lefties, Jerry Koosman for the Mets versus Vita Blue for the Athletics. The final score of this game was 10-7 in 12 innings. This is the famous or infamous game that basically brought about the Mike Andrews, the second baseman scandal. And for a couple of years there, Dick Williams was really didn't have an everyday second baseman, so he was pulling off a lot of substitutions. And in this game, towards the late innings, Mike Andrews happens to make a big error, but then the second error, and if you watch the 1973 Kurt Gowdy World Series highlights that I watch almost every year, multiple times, very, very well done, very nicely done. It's one of my favorite World Series for sure. The Mets, of course, were the underdogs, only 4 games. They won the division, only 4 games above 500, whereas the Athletics, I believe, were about 94 and 68. So the A's were definitely the favorite in this game. But the Mets, I think really the Mets, who were a bunch of unknowns in comparison or compared to the Athletics, who really had a dynasty going, had the big names, Tennis and Campaneris and Rudy and Jackson and Bando and Hunter and Blue and Holtzman. The Mets really had, Seaver, Matlack, and Koosman, outstanding pitchers, but they were not a force to be reckoned with on the offensive end. So here it is, game two of the 1973 World Series, using what I discovered as a really fun game. And check out my channel. Remember, like and subscribe to my channel, and look for the Here's the Pitch videos by the designer Dominic. And he did a great job. Easy to learn, easy to play, and so far I'm really feeling it. This is game two, and let's see what happens. All right, starting off, the lineups for the Mets are going to be Wayne Garrett, the third baseman, Mian at second base, Rusty Staub, the right fielder. Left fielder is Cleon Jones, Milner, the first baseman, Grody at catcher, center fielder is Don Hahn, shortstop is Buddy Harrelson, and the pitcher is Koosman. For the Athletics, it's going to be Campy at short, Rudy in left, Bando at third, Jackson, the center fielder, Gene Tennis at first base, right fielder Jesus Alou, catcher Ray Fosse, second baseman Dick Green, and finally Vita Blue. Let's get started. Here's the pitch. All right, so let's start it off. It's Wayne Garrett leading off. Now, one tricky thing. One tricky thing. I'm sorry, I spaced out there. Is that I never read the white before any other darker color. So when I have to go from red to white to blue, I get thrown off. Now, normally I read red to white, which makes sense. But the minute you throw the blue in there, for some reason, I would normally go a red, blue, white. I always read, my brain is trained basically to read the darker color before the whiter color. So I have to stop. So it's a 6, it's a column 6, so that's off the pitcher. And then it's going to be a 23, which is over here in this column to the left, 23 with a column 6, and that is, he is a lefty, so it's a ground ball to the shortstop, who's playing up the middle, and it's a G6. So not you don't pull the ball every single time, which is very realistic. I like that aspect of it. So one away, ground ball to shortstop. Campaneris up with it, fires to first for out number 1. Here's Felix Mian now. And that is a 2, a column 2. That's off Mian with a 43, and that's in the middle. And that is bounced up the middle and through into center field for a base hit. Now, one thing that you could do with the grounders and flyouts is roll a second set of 2 dice, and then you add them, and that'll give you some sort of, which I didn't do. When I roll that ground ball, it can give you a pop out or it can give you a line out. Otherwise, it's a ground ball. So right now I'm learning the game, so I'm just focusing on the basics, just getting the nice rhythm down, recognizing the cards and where the columns are, and so on and so forth. Here's Rusty Staub, pitch from Vita Blue. And I'm hitting, this is bothering me. Okay, so it's going to be a 4, which is off the pitcher, and a 66, and that is going to be a hit off the pitcher card, which is going to force us to roll again, right? And we're looking at a 345. And a 345 is going to be 345, 71. The 71 Vita Blue is -2. So that is a 69, and that's going to be a single off the power chart. Off Rusty Styles power chart, 174, double 75 to 98, triple blank, no triples, and home run 99 to 108. So it's going to be a single now in this case. So Mian is a 4 base runner on a 2 to 6. He will advance, and that is a 5. So he advances to third. So it's going to be first and third. Line drive for Rusty to, well, it goes, slices it to the opposite field. And here's Cleon Jones, first and third. Mets are threatening here in the first inning. Cleon Jones, Vita Blue, checks in with catcher Fossey. And here's a pitch. It's a column 5 off the pitcher and a 15, and that's going to be a fly ball center field. Now with runners on first and third, this could end up being something, a fly ball chart. Right? First and third, let's take a quick look at that. And the center fielder, Jackson, Reginald Martinez Jackson, let's see what he is. I didn't write any of this down. It would probably be helpful if I did. He's an outfielder of 2 with an arm of +1. So first and third, batter flies out, runner on third holds. 2 to 5 runner may attempt to score. First base runner goes to second base on the attempt. So I know Mian at third base is a 4, so on a 2 to 6, but the arm is a +1. The arm is a +1, so that would make him a 5. It's 2 to 7. So 2 to 7, it'll be a sacrifice fly, and I believe the other runner advances. Unless I let him score, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him score, sacrifice fly to center field, let him score, and the other runner, Staub, will hold. And I believe that's what it said on first and third. Flies out to first and third. Runner 2 to 5 runner may attempt to score. Oh, okay. I would have to roll a 2 to 5 first of all to attempt to score, and I rolled a 4. So then I can attempt. Now that's only for the attempt. Now I have to go to this chart, I believe, to score, right? To advance, base to base, base advancement, and then -2 arm is a good. So this is a +1, so it becomes a 7. So I got to roll again and see what happens. And runner may attempt to score. First baseman runner goes to second on the attempt. And a 9. So he does not. So he will be out at the plate. So he does not score after all. And he's thrown out with a bad roll. I believe I did that correctly. So it's going to be an 8 Reggie to the catcher, and it's a double play, and that ends the inning. Yikes. So no runs, 2 hits for the Mets, and the Mets a little bit over aggressive. Failed to score any runs at all after 2 hits, and we go to the bottom of the first inning. No score for the Mets, and the A's coming to. All right, it's Koosman against Campaneris. So it's a 126, and a 26 is going to be cracked to the left. Over is Cleon Jones, and Jones puts it away for the first out. Joe Rudy, right-handed hitter against Jerry Koosman. Jerry Koosman checks the sign and winds and deals. And it's a 6-12, so it is off a 12, and that's a strikeout. So Rudy's down swinging, chases a Koosman curveball for the second out, and here's Salvano, pitch from Koosman. It's a 4, and a 13, and that is a ground ball to short. Up with it is Harrelson, fires a strike to first baseman Milner to retire the side. Easy inning, 3 up and 3 down. We go to top of the second. Up comes Milner, Grody, and Hahn. Blue versus Milner. It's a 1 and a 23, and that's ball 4. So Blue walks Milner. He's on at first. No score in the top of the second. Game 2. First game was won by the A's. Excellent game. Check it out. 2-1. Here's Grody. And that is a 5 and an 11. And that's going to be cracked to center. And that is Reginald Martinez Jackson over. And in this, you can, again, like on the fly balls, you can pull this off. If you want a little bit more detail, some guys want a little bit more detail. Fly ball, you can roll 2d6, and that is an 8. Runner on first only. 2 flies out. Runner on first as a run. Blah, 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 blah. An 8. No. So I didn't roll an 8. So nothing happens basically here. All right. So a fly ball to center. And Jackson is there. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Don Hahn. And that is a 5 and a 44. A 5-44. And that's going to be if he's a righty, which he is, he taps one right back to the mound. Blew up with it. Now we got to look and see if it's a double play or not, right? So it's a ground ball. And I may have to roll again here. So a ground ball with a runner on first. DP better see if he's an 8, and Milner is definitely not an 8. I mean, he's not a real speedy guy. So he's not an 8. So it's going to be a double play. 1, 6, 3 double play. On our 11 to 11, if I roll 2d6 and 11 to 12, okay, double play. If batter steal rating is 8, safe at first. On a fielder's choice, I'm not sure if that I should. He's not an 8, so that may preclude me from having to roll these. But if I did roll these, I rolled a 9, so it does not apply. So it doesn't really matter one way or the other. It's a 1-6-3 double play. Let's do that. And the inning is over. So Don Hahn hits into a 1-6-3 DP. No runs, no hits, a walk. Nobody left. Here we go to the second inning with no score. And that's ball 4 to Jackson. He trots on down at first. And next is Gene Tennis. Pitch from Koosman. That's a 6 again with a 15, and that is if I roll 1 to 3, and it's ball 4. So back-to-back walks by Koosman here in the bottom of the second. A walk to Jackson, a walk to Tennis, and up comes Jesus Alou. Here's a pitch, and that is a column 2 with a 26, and that's going to be ground ball to third. This may be around the horn double play. Runners on first and second. You know what? Before I was looking up here, and I should have looked at fielding rating of the pitcher. I'm not going to go back, but anyway, fielding rating of the pitcher would have been a pitcher 3 position. Wow, he would have been up here. So I did do it correctly. In this case, it is a 2-26, so it's to the third baseman. Third baseman is Garrett, and Garrett, I should write these down. It's going to make my life easier. Is a 2 at third base, so he's a 2. I don't know where I can write down. Put it in here in the error section. It's not really an error. Okay, so he's a 2, so it would be here, first and second. It's going to be a double play. I'm going to roll 2d6 and see if it's a 10 or a 12. It's not, so it is a double play. It's a 5-4-3 round the horn double play. And going to third base is going to be okay. So runner on third is Jackson. 2 outs. Ray Fosse. Pitch from Koosman. And it is a 6 and an 11. And that's a strikeout if I roll. Otherwise, it's a foul ball. It's a foul ball. Let's roll again. That's a nice aspect of this. A 6 again and a 25. And that's going to be a potential error. So on the error, you're going to roll 3 dice. And it's a 3, so it's going to be the first baseman. And first baseman on the Mets is Milner. And let's see what number Milner is. Stop, Jones, and Milner will be a 2. So a 2 is going to be a 2 to 9. There's going to be an error. So let's roll. And that is a 7. So it's an error, a 1-base error, and that allows a run to score. So it's an E3, and the run scores. And Fosse's on at first base. So all right, so here comes Dick Green with a runner on first, and 1-0 Athletics. And it is a 5 and a 22, a 5 and a 22, and it's a check swing. They'll check with the first base umpire, and he went around, and Green doesn't like it, but he goes down on strike. So 1 run comes in on a couple of walks and an error, and we go to the top of the third, 1-0 Athletics. All right, it's Harrelson, Koosman, and the top of the order, Garrett here in the top of the third, 1-0 A's. The A's scored a run on an error by first baseman Milner, and it's a 4-54. So it's a 4 and a 54. That'll be here, and that's going to be a base hit off the pitcher's card. So we're going to have to roll on the power chart. He is a -2 power chart, and that's a 215, and that's going to be a 17 minus 215, and that's going to be a bouncer and through the hole into left field. So it's a single for Harrelson, and we're going to bunt. And the hitting card is a 3 for Koosman. And what is a bunt on these cards? Here it is. A bunt is a 3. Let's get the bunt chart. Bunt chart and 2 dice total. Let's roll though. And that's a 5. And a 5 is a 1 on bunt 3. A 1 is a miss pitch, strike, no play. So let's do it again. He's going to try to bunt again. Koosman squares. And so we're going to try it again. And that is, again, a 3 and a 2, which will be a 6. And that's an error by a fielder, runner advance. See note 2. Note 2. A fielder has a 3 rating, same as number 2. Okay, so so it's a snake eyes, and that makes it a 6, and that's going to be an error by a fielder. Okay, so we're just not going to kill ourselves on this. We're just going to give it an E2 on Fosse, because I used the red 1, and the red 1 is the catcher, so it's a ball that Fosse gets to. He bobbles it, drops it, and everybody's safe. It's going to be a sacrifice for Koosman. On E2, he's on at first, so that puts runners on first and second for the Mets. The Mets trail by 1. We're in the top of the third. And here is Wayne Garrett. He is a bunter of a 2. Would like to bunt here as well. We're going to try to bunt again. So let's do it 2 this time, and that's an 8. And an 8 is going to be a 2, and that's a good bunt. Runners advance. And the fielder will be a 2 as a catcher again. So it's going to be a sacrifice. 2 will make it 2-4. Both runners move up, S, and then, of course, where do I fit that in? S, that's tricky. And now we got second and third. So the A's are going to allow, well, with 1 out, the A's are going to play the infield in. Let's see what happens. I got this. I want to move it forward a little bit here because I've been bumping into the mic with my head. I don't know why. I put it in an odd place. Here's me on. So infield will be in. Everybody's in on the grass. And Blue checks the sign with Fosse. And here's a pitch to Felix Mian. All right, so we're going to have to check the infield in chart on this. All right, so we got a 4. That's off the pitcher. And a 55 is going to be a base hit to center field. And this is off the power chart, so we're going to have to roll again. Mian with a hit to center. And that's going to be a 6 and a 26, and that is a 73 minus 2 is a 71, and that's a single to center. One run comes in, and Koosman's going to hold up at third. He's the pitcher, and I'm just going to hold him up at third, and it's going to be first and third. Kind of simplify my life right here. There's a lot going on for a new game. This is only my second game, so I'm not going to overwhelm myself. And here's Rusty style. We got first and third, one out. We're playing for the double play now, so we're going to just play everybody halfway, and let's see what happens. The game is tied at 1. Here's a pitch to Rusty, and that's going to be a 3. That's off Rusty's card, and a 16, a 3, and a 16, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field. I just don't, I'm not going to do that. So he's going to hold on the fly out to center field. Now I could roll 2 dice to see what kind of fly out it is. And it's a 7. It's a regular fly out. And that's going to be it for that. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that extra roll. I could do it, but it could be a line out. But I didn't bother. No big deal either way. Let's continue to play the game. We've got first and third and Cleon Jones. And a pitch from Blue. And that's a 3 and a 66. A 3 and a 66 is a tapper right back to the mound. Blue's got it. He secures it, fires to first, and that retires the side. But a run comes in on an RBI single by Mian. Line drive hit the center field. An error helped him along, helped the runner get into scoring position as well. Error on the catcher, Fossey. And the game now is tied at 1 apiece going to the bottom of the third. Koosman versus Vita Blue, then the top of the order, Campy and Rudy. And Blue is the card is 2, so we're looking here. And that will be a 5 off the, it's going to be a 6 off the pitcher and a 52. And that's going to be a base hit off the pitcher card, but we're going to go to 1 to 90 is a single. So let's roll on this. It's going to be a 343. 343 is a 69, and that will be a ball hit up the middle and base hit for Blue. So Blue's on with a single on the pitcher, off the pitcher card, right? All right, and now it's Campaneris. And Campaneris is going to bunt. And what kind of a bunter is he? He's a 2 bunter. We can get that, the bunt chart again. We can track it. Here it is. He's a 2 bunter. He will bunt. And that is an 8. And it's going to be a 2. Good bunt. Runner advances. And that's a 4. And that'll be to the pitcher. So it's a sacrifice. Again, 1-4. Runner to second base. Blue goes to second base. Next is Rudy. 1 out, 1 on. Here's the pitch. What I do with Koosman. Here it is. That's going to be a 1 and a 33, and that's a strikeout. So curveball gets Rudy. And that's 2 outs, and here's Bando. Pitch from Koosman. It's a 1 and a 63, a 163, and that's cracked to left. Backing up a couple of steps is left fielder Jones. Taps his glove and squeezes it for out number 3. So the A's with no runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We move to the top of the 4th. It's all tied at 1. All right, Vita Blue against Milner. Let's look at that red. It's a 5. That's off the pitcher, and a 62. A 562, and that's going to be a base hit. Again, it's off the pitcher card, so we got to roll on the power chart. And that's a 513. 513, and that's a 94. Minus 2 is a 92. And that is a deep drive off the bat of Milner. That's way back to right field. And looking up is Alou, and that's gone. So a home run. That's the first home run in 2 games for us. So that felt good. Finally, I get somebody that has a good home run number. And it's 2-1 Mets here in the top of the 4th. Next up is Jerry Grody. And that's a 6 and a 65, a 6 and a 65. That's a strikeout. So he swings and misses at a high fastball. Grody could not catch up to it. And here's Don Hahn, who hit into a double play earlier in the game. And that's a 324. And the 324, that's ball four. Takes ball four high. And here's Buddy Harrelson. And that's a 1 and a 46. And that's a strikeout if it's less than 4. And it is not. So that's a foul ball. Let's do it again. And that's a 3 again. A 3 and a 65, and that's going to be ball 4. So Hahn walks, Harrelson walks, and now it's Koosman who's going to bunt. So Koosman, we decided his bunt card was a 3, so he would be. Let me see. Hold on a second. Okay, it's going to be bunt is going to be a 3. Let's go to bunt chart. Let's roll for a bunt, and that's a 9, and a 9 is a 2. It's a good bunt, and that's going to go to the pitcher. So 1, 4. Both runners move up, 2 outs. It's going to bring the top of the order. The Mets lead at 2-1. Solo home run by Milner to lead off the top of the 4th inning. And it's going to be Wayne Garrett. He's 0 for 1 with a sacrifice. So we have 3 players with sacrifice. They've been sacrificing a lot in this game. And it's Wayne Garrett. Here's the pitch from Blue, lefty on lefty. And that's going to be a 3 and a 22, a 3 and a 22. And that's going to be a hard hit ground ball to the shortstop Campaneris. He's up with it and goes to second for the force. Oh, no, there's nobody on second. So he goes to third. He goes to first to end the inning. So 1 run on 1 hit, the solo shot by Milner. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The Mets lead at 2-1, game 2. The A's lead the series 1-0. Koosman against Jackson, Tennis, and Alu. And that is a 1 and a 25 and a 125, and that's going to be a base hit. Now, he can try for 2 bases. I believe that's what that means. And Jackson will not try for 2 bases right here. He's going to play it safe. Next is Gene Tennis, pitch from Koosman. And that is a 4 with a 26, a 4-26, and that's a ground ball to second base. I'm going to see if on the ground. So then it's a 4-6-4 double play. And Alu is up with 2 outs. Hopefully I'm doing that right. Kind of feels about right, but again, Koosman is up. Got to give chances to games. It takes a bunch of games to get more into the flow and to really. All right, so that's going to be a 5 and a 63, and that's going to be here. And that's going to be a base hit. Alu is a righty, so it's going to be a base hit to right center field. Goes the other way. And it's off the pitcher card, so maybe it's not a single, right? It's off the pitcher card, so we're going to have to roll on the power chart, and that's going to be a 341. 341 is going to be a 67, and that's going to be a single. So it's a 2-out single for Jesus Alu. He's on at first. Here's Ray Fosse. The pitch, it's a 3 and a 65. 365, and that's potentially just a fly ball left field. Under it is Cleon Jones, and he makes the outs. He makes the catch. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left, and we go to top of the 5th, 2-1 Mets. All right, so sorry, we're back. Willie Mays leading off. Came in on that double switch against Darryl Knowles, and let us see. Hold on one second. All right, so here's the pitch. Willie Mays. Darryl Knowles is still in there, and it's a 5-21. 5-21, that's a walk. So Mays walks. Garrett next. I'm sorry, I put it in the wrong spot. And here's the pitch to Garrett. And that's a 636. 636 is a strikeout. So Noel strikes out Garrett for the first out of the 8th inning. 1 on, 1 out. Mays at first. Here's me on. And that's a 223. And a 223 will be a grounded to short. This could be a double play. Grounded to short. Can't be is a 2. So runner on first. Let's just roll these two and see what it comes. It's a 9. And that is a double play. Mays is not a +6 or anything even close to that in the steal rating. So that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play in the inning. And we go to the bottom of the 8th, 7-2 Mets. Harry Parker against Gene Tennis. Tennis today is walked twice and into a double play. That's a 154 and a 154, and that's going to be a fly out center field. Center fielder Mays is there, and he gloves it for out number 1. Alu is next. He is 1 for 3, and that is a 3 and a 12. And the 3 and a 12 is cracked to center, backing up a few steps is Mays, and he gets that one. So two flyouts to Mays. And I could roll to see if it's a line out or no, it's just straight up. In the flyout on the 2, it would be a roll. Snake eyes could be a double, an error, and a 9-12 could be a flyout. Let me make sure that Mays is only a 2. Maybe he could be even a 1. I'm not sure. No, he's a 3. Oh, wow. Okay, so that surprised me. Did not expect him to be a 3. And that's a ground ball. The fly out caught up against the wall is a 2. A 3 or 4 is a line out. I rolled a 6. And a great catch is 11 or 12. So I got to remember that. Those are pretty fairly easy to remember. And once you get those, then it'll go much faster. All right, so Fossey was pulled out earlier in a triple switch, if you will. And it was not Dick Green, but Mike Andrews has come in. So Mike Andrews is at second base, and here's a pitch from Parker, and it's a 433 and a 433, and that is a fly ball in the gap. On the run is Mays, and Mays makes the 3 outs in the inning. So Willie Mays, looking like Willie Mays in his prime. And we go to the top of the 9th. Staub coming up, Jones and Milner. Blue Moon Odom. Pitch from Odom to Staub. And it's a 2-11. And a 2-11 is a fly out to center. Reggie Jackson settles under it. Joe Silvers gets under it and squeezes it for the out. Here's Jones. It's a 2 and a 15. And a 2 and a 15 is a double against a righty. Double against a lefty, a single against a righty. So it's going to be a single. The 4. So it's no. I'm sorry. It's a double if I roll less than 4. It is a double, and that's how you play that. My mistake. So he drives one in the gap and rolls to the wall. Played off the wall by Jackson into second base is Jones. Here's John Milner, and that's a 134. And a 134 is going to be a bouncer to second base. Charging hard is Mike Andrews. He bobbles it, but no. Secures it and then throws out Milner. And it's almost life imitating art or art imitating life. Grody with 2 out and 1 on. Runner moved to third on that. And here's the pitch to Grody, and it's a 631. A 631 is a fly ball to left. Rudy's there, and that retires aside. No runs. 1 hit, 1 left. Last licks for the A's. Coming up, they trail 7-2 in Game 2 of the 73 World Series. Here's the pitch. Okay, so it's going to be George Stone coming in. He's a lefty. He had a 2.80 ERA, 77 strikeouts, 31 walks in 148 innings pitched, started 20 games, got into 27 games, and he's a reliever here in the bottom of the 9th. It's going to be a pinch hitter, not Johnson, but a pinch hitter, then Johnson, and then Campy. And it's going to be Angel Mangwal pinch hitting. The pitcher, George Stone, the pitch, That's a 114, and a 114 is a bouncer to second base. Charging hard is Mian, and he throws him out for the first out. Next is Darren Johnson. Darren Johnson's 0 for 1 with a walk. Here's a pitch, and that's a 3 and a 46 and a 3-46, and that's bounced to pull down the line, backhanded by Garrett. Garrett with the long throw to first in time, just gets the hustling. Darren Johnson, not known for his speed, but turn on the Jets there to try to beat that out. So the A's are down to their last out here. They trail 7-2 in game 2. They lead the series 1-0. This series is about to be tied up by the Mets. The pitch to Bert Campaneris. Campaneris today is 1 for 3 with a sacrifice. And that's a 2 and a 41, a 2 and a 41. And that is a hard hit ground ball to the shortstop. Buddy Harrelson, he gets it, fires to first, and ball game is over, my friends. Here's the pitch. Game number 2 has been completed. And the Mets win it by a score of 7-2. The big hit was the 3-run homer off of Vita Blue by Jerry Grody. So Mets, despite winning, had played a little bit of sloppy defense. They had a couple errors. They had 7 runs on 13 hits and 2 errors. But the Mets pitching really stifled the Oakland A's bats. The A's with 2 runs on 4 hits and no errors. Jerry Koosman is going to get the victory. He only gave up 3 hits. He did walk a bunch, though. He did actually. Koosman went 6 and so he gave up 4 hits. Excuse me. But the relief pitching after that retired 9 in a row. Both Parker and Stone retired 9 in a row. Yikes! But Koosman did walk 6. So he gave up 4 hits and 6 walks, and he struck out a bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 struck out 6, and he gave up 2 runs, 2 earned runs, and actually no, only 1 earned run. Excuse me, there was an unearned run in that 6th inning. There was a 2-out error. So that was really 1 earned run allowed by Koosman on 4 hits and 6 walks. So Koosman wins it, and that's about it for game 2. The series is tied at 2 apiece, and we go to Shea Stadium in New York. It's going to be Tom Seaver facing off against Jim Catfish Hunter in New York. That ought to be an amazing game, so stay tuned for that. That will be up very soon. Learning Here's the Pitch Baseball. See you guys soon.